Welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is The Schiller. I've been doing these things every Monday through Friday since the beginning of January. I've covered some interesting stories, and the timeline once again is reminding me that things are going to get shaken up and shaken up in a good way. If you guys are enjoying these streams, I'd love it if you're able to share it with a friend and maybe give me a like. So I'm wearing a hat today. You're familiar probably with the team, right? The Yankees. We have some IP. Let me hold up the coffee here. A McDonald's coffee, okay? More technically IP and a brand. And I think a lot of the times people will gravitate towards certain brands. And it's interesting to think about within the blockchain space, especially the games here, how many of them actually intrigue you. Are you going to base it off gameplay? Are you going to base it off previous IP that you're kind of familiar with, brand-wise, et cetera, et cetera? What's the deal? We're going to get into all that here shortly. But off the rip here, I thought this was an interesting post from Economist here, where it was somebody that was highlighting a restaurant where it was all computer-generated, essentially. Or at least not humanly staffed, if you will. And it's asking for a tip. And yesterday we highlighted about how Starbucks are the drive-thrus that are asking for tips as well. And this Adam Fern individual saying, I have no interaction with any humans at this place. Zero. Who am I tipping the machine? Enough is enough. An economist adding of stop tipping altogether, whether it's casual or full sit-down restaurants. Prices keep rising and restaurants keep adding more charges. It's about time we vote with our wallets and encourage restaurants to pay a living wage without needing patrons to foot the bill. Okay, so shill, that has nothing to do with NFTs, Web3, all that kind of stuff. Okay, sure, that's one take of it. Or the realization that everybody has is like, holy crap, our money's not being as effective as it was, making different choices from a day to day. I've not seen it in my lifetime the way that it is right now in terms of people realizing these things, and when they're like, hey, how do we handle this? Well, where else can you go? Well, maybe online to figure out the new money system. Remember Rarible? What the hell happened? So yesterday they made a tweet like just, congratulating BOIC on their third year, and what the hell happened? I feel like there was so many opportunities for Rarible to kind of take a stand or at least be prominent within the space. I mean, they have like 633,000 followers. I don't know a single person that does anything on Rarible. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But they are hiring there, They got remote Mexico, remote Brazil, back-end engineers. If you're interested, apparently they are hiring. Okay, so yesterday as well, Bored Apes, there was one that was bought that apparently was from the Yuga Labs wallet, and Gargus saying it wasn't us, it was a partner who ended up buying it. And then you kind of go through the trails, and I guess it's improbable, which doesn't make any sense to me, because I thought, again, big, huge thought, that there was some kind of a falling out, or they weren't working together, because again, that third trip felt completely different than the others. So I thought they were kind of starting from ground up. Maybe they reconnected. Maybe there was a fallout with the former CEO and the changes on that. I have no idea. And they're also highlighting continually different people that are doing things within the Made by Apes. And in this case, they're highlighting Command Line, which is a Fortnite-focused studio empowering Web3-based IP through partnerships and development. Just wanted to highlight that because it does seem interesting that there's an entire company that is made to help Web3 IP build something within Fortnite. And a code is sold for 40 ETH. Doesn't look anything that special, but 40 ETH, holy guacamole. And this is the final thing here that I thought was kind of funny, is that Gigaza was highlighting about an NFT that they previously owned, and this person saying, I previously owned it, and then the current owner is commenting on it. And it's like this weird family within the NFT space of, only hold something until the next person takes over. All right. So we ripped on Rarible just a little bit here, and I'm not trying to be overtly funny, but we do love a little bit of good fun. Magic Eden, what the hell happened with that? They had the diamond rewards, they had everything else. They had this entire ETH coalition that was coming together to help creator royalties, and it feels like I've not seen anything from Magic Eden, but their BTC rewards are now live. You can earn more diamonds for buying over other requests on the biggest cross-chain rewards program. So we'll see. I don't know. It still feels like Blur's getting the majority of the bids. I don't know if you've been following Magic Eden. Curious if you've been bullish on what's happened over there, or just like, okay, it's kind of like a marketplace that these teams are partnering up with. Now, 12 a.m., which is the Dr. Disrespect Midnight Society. Before, they got approved to build on PlayStation. Now, they apparently approved to play on Xbox. And my thought with this is it's interesting, the video game industry as a whole, because it feels like it's way harder for studios to raise things. We're seeing cancelizations of certain games, but in the blockchain space, it seems like they're getting all of the funding. Pudgy Penguins with some news. We're excited to launch the first third-party licensing deal on Overpass IP provided by OCap Games. Orange Cap Games is bringing 200 Pudgy Penguins to life for their upcoming trading card game. Submit your penguin below. Apparently, they're doing a deal, and somebody said that like you get paid like $200 or something for that, but still, I guess if it's successful, you can have your Pudgy Penguin as one of the cards. Again, it's always felt kind of weird to me how we build in like certain individual NFTs on a greater scale. But that's something that kind of, it gets there. Okay, here's an interesting line of Michael Saylor talking with someone who is the former PayPal president on Bitcoin.
In the next few years. But getting off of currency debasement, I get Bitcoin is the neutral settlement layer. So where does Lightning come into all of this? What's your view of Lightning? What's the role of layer twos? How do you define a layer two and help the audience, because you know more than anybody about that?
Well, so once you build the conviction that Bitcoin is the neutral settlement network for all payments in the world, you know that it's secure, you know that it's decentralized, you know that its value can't be messed with. You have to make it fast and cheap. And so Bitcoin is very secure on layer one, but it's slow. It takes 10 minutes for a new block to be added, about 10 minutes. And the fees, especially now that there are more things that are being published on the Bitcoin blockchain, the fees are quite high. And so here comes the Lightning Network, which is basically a payment layer two on top of Bitcoin that enables really fast, like near real time, and really cheap movement of Bitcoin. And when we started that journey almost 2 years ago, we realized that Lightning was actually great at a theoretical level, but really hard to operate for mainstream companies. And so what we did at Lightspark is we built an enterprise-grade platform that enables companies to connect to the Lightning Network without any of the complexities of running a node, deploying liquidity, opening channels, finding routes, splitting payments into smaller payments, and reassembling them on the other side to make sure that they arrive at the right destination. All concepts that are quite foreign for companies that are just looking to connect to an endpoint and send and receive transactions reliably. And so that's what we've been doing. And we're very happy that actually this week Coinbase started launching support for Lightning on our stack. So that's a major milestone for the network.
Now, it's funny because he brings up the Coinbase support for it, and the CyberKong just holders ended up going out and being like, yo, Coinbase is doing like the emote on their Twitter that's a lightning bolt, and we were using that for like the Prometheans and some of the runes, but I guess it was for, it was for the Bitcoin Lightning Network. And again, his line in there, Bitcoin is the neutral settlement network for all payments in the world. That's crazy. Okay, let's get to the topic that I wanted to kind of break down here, is the fact that there is an immense amount of games, and it is amazing that we have so many builders within the space, but at the same time, it is terrifying as we've seen a lot of things end up going by the wayside. We have kind of like hype periods and then it goes away. And again, within Web3 gaming, just fundamentally, it is involving money. Like it just, that's just how it works. And so Yellow Panther here is saying, have invested 40 top gaming and AI projects. I personally think that's enough this cycle. Okay, so this individual, who obviously, you have like certain access to people, they invested in 40 different gaming and AI projects. Let's just say the majority of that was gaming. So we'll go with like 30, right? 30 gaming, 10 AI. 30 games. 30 freaking games. That's insane. And we're supposed to expect all of them to end up succeeding? Well, here's a look at something that ended up happening a while ago that we've highlighted with Mirandus. They had an entire remake, and this was posted, I guess, in the Gala Discord, but then it was quickly removed. I don't know if a mod removed it or what, but let me read it right quick. And this was a collection that had immense amount of hype. Gala themselves sold so many NFTs for it. People bought the dream, and it's still happening, but it's just like, it's mind-boggling to think of how many different happenings there are in the space. So anyway, the post. I created the below Discord shortly after Benefactor, the CEO of Gala, fired the entire development team of Mirandus for a Chilean development team specializing in mobile games, who does not appear to have any MMORPG experience. Shortly after this, the founder gave us our Mirandus dream resigned. The founder that gave us our Mirandus dream resigned. We believed in McCarthy's vision and years of hard work from people on the development team who joined us on this journey. The original aim was to attempt to buy the Mirandus IP so the team we believe in could continue working without much delay to save our beloved game. Gala does not appear to want to be a part of it, and for various other reasons, we are no longer pursuing this path, and we are going to do something better. We are still at the beginning stages of starting over. Let's create a medieval MMORPG game with some of the old developers that aligns with the dream we were sold. But this time, let's not be beholden to the promises of NFT sales. We will not have to worry about executives only trying to line their pocket and milk the community for the next NFT sale. But let's focus on the product. Let's develop the best crypto game out there, not worrying about pumping transaction numbers or chain data. Okay, so I mean, there's more to this post overall, but still you can see like that's an example of, you know, something that ended up raising a whole bunch, and they're doing things in a different way, but people ended up getting kind of like, I guess, hurt within that realm. And so I was like, okay, let me do some research here. And new research from mobile revenue growth engine Superscale has found that 83% of launched mobile games fail within 3 years, while 43% are canceled during development. Now, this is kind of only talking about mobile games, but that is an insane rate of failure within 3 years, and a huge mark that don't even end up getting released. And it's just, damn, we see more and more on the timelines every single day. And so Oni4 here, I thought this was kind of funny. Hold on, this is yeah. So, and the reason why I think it's funny, because it's not about the games, which we'll get to in a second, but Von Doom here is saying the Oni4 team has been cooking. I'm like, okay, cool. Team's working. And then we got Noodles here who's saying Wilder World is cooking. I'm like, okay, so everybody in the space is cooking. Everybody's making a game. What is going on? Harry Swan, good friggin' morning to you. We got the coffee ready. Hope you're doing well, my man. And going on here, just kind of showcasing some of the games here, because it's not, you know, we want to highlight the things that are going, and it does look like a really fun game that way. But this is what the work in progress right now looks like for Wilder World. And then I suppose the question would be, why would you end up wanting to play this game versus another game? And then it goes back to, oh, is it the IP? Is it the gameplay? Is it personalities that get into it that you really like? And Wanderer said an announcement before, this is another game just to kind of show like another shooter that is on the blockchain to show how many different ones there are. But with this, they did highlight that they were going on the Epic Games Store, and you can see time and time again, more and more collections are jumping on to the Epic Games Store. So I don't know if it's really that hard to get on anymore, because it feels like just anyone that has a significant build is getting on there. Now, another game is Zertmon, which is through the XRPL, which probably not a lot of people are involved with or kind of paying attention to on the XRP side, and you might be, but this is one of the card games for that. Obviously, we have Parallel, there's Gods Unchained, et cetera, but back to the question of why would you play this game? Well, if you're somebody that really likes XRP, well, maybe you would gravitate to one of the card games like Zertmon here, who is building on that network, and it's nothing to do with IP. And Jiho is here for the Ronin ecosystem. When we look at the Axie games and IP, they have a couple different ones in here, and then they have Wild Forest, Machines Arena, Tribesters, Axie Champions, Pixels, Kydro, Mixie Fight League. Why are you going to play them? Same questions again. Does it intrigue you off the first rip? If these games said something like, hey, here's like Digimon game, it would be like, oh yeah, Schiller, hell yeah, or hell no, right? It's all these questions about what's going to get the attention when there is an abundance of games across the entire ecosystem. So Justin, head of ETFs at both Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan have resigned. Maybe it's a coincidence that both companies missed the most successful ETF launch in history with the Bitcoin ETFs. And Bill Noble chiming in saying, I bet they go to firms that place them at the head of digital asset ETFs. Other financial players just can't let BlackRock leave them in the dust. Wow. Well. And further good news to the space overall, PayPal expands crypto offerings with MoonPay integration in the US, giving its customers access to Sol and other tokens. Just the access is getting more and more every single day. Interesting world news here. Australia's government has offered a tentative rollout date of July 1st, 2024 for its nationwide digital ID. When you have digital ID, does a blockchain get involved? Is this a nothing burger? Is the world going to digital IDs? What exactly does it look like? Now, everyone's changing with the regulations, how things are going. And some news here out of Canada. BitBuy has acquired the Canadian clients of fellow crypto exchange Bitstamp as it exits the country. It says, hey, we are leaving. We're out of here. Again, Canadian regulations, I'm not really sure. It seems that most of it's just, hey, you have to like pay a certain amount to be allowed to work within the country, and they're just being very specific of who it is. Again, Binance isn't there. I believe Coinbase is fine, but it does seem like that there is a very specific subset of that. But JW, we need games that will pique people's interest, and working hands are in skilled trades. See, that's interesting that you bring that up, because for the former CEO of Binance and CZ, obviously he had the, he's now apparently going to jail for like 4 months, the money laundering and whatnot, but his whole thing is about education on the blockchain. It seems like he's doing a lot of the stuff for free in that realm, and it is interesting that it is kind of all these games that are based off fun, where maybe that education side is going to play a really big part. The other day, I read whispers about a little known project called Based Minis minting a solo art project by a dope pixel artist, Pixel. I minted 2 at Public Phase and have since bought 3 more. The art is fire. I feel like we have seen so many different pixel art things as of late within the Wii bumps over on Say. We have now these Based Minis with it. I never thought the pixel art would be as big as it is, but apparently it just keeps growing. So Binance making a tweet saying, let us familiarize you with the various NFT categories. PFPs, profile pictures, digital art, and virtual real estate are a few examples. I feel virtual real estate does not work like at all. Like I listen, I know that it's out there and it's had its wave, but it's not really gotten any sort of grounds whatsoever. Half the land that's in the metaverse is some kind of multiplier for points or a token out there. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's a little weird. So here's the too long didn't read version of this. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are unique digital assets that represent ownership, authenticity, and provenance of a specific item or piece of content on the blockchain. NFTs can be categorized based on their use case, interactivity, token standards, licensing, and rights. Other ways to categorize NFTs include their rarity, underlying blockchain network, interoperability, and their creators. The NFT space is rapidly evolving, and new use cases are emerging regularly. As adoptions of NFTs expand, there may be more type of innovative NFTs, and I agree with that. It feels that we are at kind of like a weird point where we are expecting a big jump in the innovation on NFTs, and it's kind of been at a standstill. DGMD is saying, I think we see an absolute god candle today on Coin for Coinbase, which is their stock. Earnings are going to be a huge beat, but what is more bullish will be the outlook. Wall Street has no idea how much they are making on base chain and their international endeavors, not financial advice, do your own research, et cetera, et cetera. And, I kind of agree with this stance, because we saw yesterday the announcement from Tether where they got like 4.3 billion or something from like Q1 alone. So when these markets are picking up more transactions, again, a lot of the ETFs, if they're using Coinbase, that is a huge amount of fees. And Hong Kong, remember, if the entirety of the US ETFs do go through Coinbase, how much money is that? Well, apparently for Hong Kong, on their first day, they took in $292 million for their Bitcoin ETFs. Think of the fees if that ever happens in America, which I think like it's done more than that overall. But for the first day, am I crazy, or did they not say that there was like 11 million that was bought on the first day. And that was the story in the headline yesterday. But today, they're saying that the first day brought in 292 million. So was it fake news yesterday? Like, what is going on? I am so confused. Final thing I'm going to leave you with here for the Futureverse fam. If you are uber bullish or bearish, well, let me bring this up. So Helen had a tweet, and she normally talks about Futureverse, but she hasn't posted in a little bit, and was just like, hey, it's been quiet. There's been some different thoughts about things. Still really excited about what's going on. And then Aaron, the founder of Futureverse, ended up chiming in here saying, not that I comment on price per se, but anyone who assumes ASM and ASTO isn't a big part of what we are doing, you're not even looking past your own nose. The vast majority of applications and games we have launched use it, with more to come. And now we have confidence in some of the underlying mechanics and tech stack, plus the network issues out of the way. We are ready to move into more user growth. We just wrote a whole new paper on how it fits into everything we're building, and we are close to releasing more details on what that means for the ASM implementation for energy and brains. Sends was super interesting to see, as you point out, as one of the largest root unlocks so far, and most of it stayed in long-term holders' hands. FUD swept through, and the leanings jumped, and plenty of smart people took advantage of their fear. Very interesting there. He's talking bullish. He's excited about things, and also kind of highlighting how this is going to be a big month in a different tweet. So give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to bring that up because I think that that's somewhat relevant to say as well. It says, to be honest, April was a bit of a slog, but teams set us up well. Next month's exciting for us all. Big partner launches, Consensus 2024 featured panel, new tech, new marketing partners, new research, new game demos, big The Readyverse reveal. Hell friggin' yes. Thank you so much for you guys watching. JW and Mr. Harry Swan, as usual, popping through in the chat. And Fire Badger, I'm seeing your comments, but I have to do like a little bit of an extra, kind of look through them. I don't know if YouTube is suppressing on the one day and thinking that you were a bot, but I see you out there. I appreciate you watching every episode. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. And tonight there is a Root Radio session, and it's going to feature Klon and Alex and the Root Radio crew. So if you guys are following me on X, that's going to be happening